Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center. I'm here with Amanda Spencer with her movie, Every Grain of Sand. Let's take a look at the clip.
Now I have nothing left.
What about me?
I don't care nothing about you. You the reason I'm in this situation.
How could you be so stupid to let your insurance lapse? I didn't think it would matter for 2 months, man.
God damn it, I'll never get us out of this shit.
Well, I'll be gone soon. You can go back to living your life the way you want.
Amanda, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your film. It was just a wonderful watch. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah, Every Grain of Sand is the story of two sisters, one who's terminally ill and one who gives up her career, her home, and everything else to take care of her and try and pay off her medical bills.
It was such an inspiring story on so many different levels, and I love that in this short space of time, you know, they really go on a journey together. And I felt so much for the characters, you know, so instantaneously. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular project?
Yeah, I actually had 2 surgeries myself within the space of 4 weeks last summer, so that was extremely fun. And, you know, at the end, luckily I have insurance, so everything was okay, but in speaking to Tara, one of my stars, she also had a family member that had several surgeries, and, you know, we're talking about the fact that if we hadn't had insurance, we probably would have lost our homes. We would have been living a very different life and owed quite a lot of money to a hospital.
I am so happy that you told this particular story because it literally breaks my heart to think that we're in a situation where basically, you know, people think about the cost of their health rather than how is it going to affect myself or my family, and how tragic in a sentence that is to even put out there. Obviously, you've gone through it yourself, and it's amazing that you took something that was very difficult for you and turned this into a film to showcase that. But that message that you have in this particular film, is that something you really wanted to universally for your audience to understand as well?
Definitely. A lot of us have insurance, but so many people don't. And living in the United States, you'd think that we'd be in a better situation, but so many of our brothers and sisters are suffering and have no way to, they have to make hard choices like, can I even get well?
Yeah.
Or no, I'm just gonna not even try and get help.
Yeah, no, it's true. Your actresses were phenomenal. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off them because everything pinpoint was just so perfect, their reactions to everything. But what a dream team you have. How do you find your cast?
I saw Tara, Tara Riggs was in DeKalb Elementary, which was an Oscar-nominated short from last year. And she was also an Independent Spirit Award nominee for Ballast, which is a wonderful film if anyone hasn't watched it. And so I just asked around, found her email address, and pitched her, and she was interested.
Wow.
And then I did the same thing with Regina.
I love that. I love that you found it in that way as well, because sometimes we're a bit afraid to, if we've seen someone in a project or something, to actually make that step and say, I want that person. And the fact that you even mentioned that you found your cast and then you made the film around them.
Yeah, definitely. I cast it first. I got the best people I could get. And then I wrote something that I thought would show them off, but that also had a message that we could all relate to, that we felt was worth telling, because it's a lot of time and energy and effort goes into making something, so why do something trite?
Yeah, and right in this piece as well, like it was so powerful to watch on camera. It was hard to go through their struggles because they both had the best of intentions for each other. The love was there, but you know, when you're going through difficult moments, you know, many things happen and many reactions happen you don't necessarily want to happen. I just thought, wow, this is wonderfully directed, but you know, what a great cast and how the performance was so wonderful. Are you kind of, as a director, you kind of more of an actor's director? Do you kind of let them play? How is your process with them?
I really do, because I have done a little acting myself in the past, and so I try and put myself in their position. You know, I think the most important thing I did was I rented a house where the whole cast and crew could stay together.
Oh, great.
And so the day that we actually was our first day when everyone arrived was the night of the Academy Awards.
Oh,
And
how
so,
wonderful.
Yeah, so we just all sat around and watched the Academy Awards and had that experience. And I made dinner for everyone so we could just all share and get comfortable. And we didn't do anything that night. We just
Yeah.
hung out. And then the next day we did a read through and then we went over to set. So I try and make sure that everyone has at least a memory of hanging out together so they have a little something to draw on. And that was something that I learned from an interview with Francis Ford Coppola. He'll have long rehearsal periods
Yes.
and have a lot of meals, and he loves to have eating in his films.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I want to try and emulate the greatest, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love that you did that because I want to join your set, actually. It's so wonderful.
We
You
had fun. You
create memories, and I think that's such an important for the cast and the crew to feel comfortable with each other, because when you go into it, it's so important to have that trust element, isn't it? When you're working together, especially that closely together. You had the most perfect location. I was like fascinated with how you filmed in what looked like a very tight space, but in a very beautiful part of California, in Joshua Tree. Explain a bit about how that was. Was there any trials and tribulations with that?
It's not quite a set.
Yeah.
That trailer is as old as it looks.
Yeah, okay.
And the floor, it creaks. So we had to not move around too much, but luckily, hey, it was so small we could barely move anyway, so that wasn't a big problem. And beyond that, just she had it decorated so perfectly, like I was telling you. We hardly had to do anything, so that was wonderful, and that just saved a lot of time and energy.
What was the biggest challenge you faced in making this project?
There were a couple things. The first thing I would say is just we were using Panasonic GH5s, which is a great camera. A great camera if you're on a budget, wonderful. But I had a plan to have 2 iPads as monitors for me, and they were draining the battery on the camera. So within about the first hour, I was without any monitor, without any eyes. And so I had to rely a lot and trust a lot my DP and my awesome crew. And so we made it work, and we'd go and check the little tiny thing on the camera and make sure, okay, are we getting it? Are we getting it? So that was the main thing. And the only other thing was just that the set was literally just a trailer, and that was it. So we had to pitch a huge tent for craft services and hangout area, and but we did it. It worked.
What's it like seeing this, something that you've been there from the very, very beginning, and then seeing it on the big screen at the NewFilmmakers Los Angeles? What was that experience like for you?
It was such a thrill, and the NewFilmmakers Los Angeles is by far one of the best festivals that I have been to, and I've been to quite a few. But it's a beautiful theater. The audience was so wonderful. Everybody was responsive to not only my film, but to all of our films. And I felt the same way about theirs. And so it's nerve-wracking because it was the world premiere, and so you want to make sure everything's perfect. But just having a comfortable, welcoming environment just made it great.
Yeah, and getting the audience reaction. What did you kind of, when you wrote something, you've obviously got a kind of an idea of maybe how you want the audience to kind of take from the circumstances, the plot and everything. What did you kind of want your audience to take from your film?
I just wanted the ones who are in a good position and have insurance and or live in another country such as Canada or the UK where you have health insurance to be grateful, and everyone to be more compassionate with people that are not in such a lucky position.
Yeah, I really appreciate this. And so I say to people a lot about how, my mom, she had cancer and she was in a place where healthcare was available, and it breaks my heart people have to sell their houses and everything else. And I think by you making movies, particularly about how we can change and how we should appreciate and putting it out there, I think is such an important thing. And I love what you said last night, because you literally, said about what inspires you as a filmmaker and what kind of films that really, obviously you've made a film about a subject that is relevant and relatable to people here, but what kind of films do you like to make, and people would you like to make it with as well?
I love to work with positive people. You'd be amazed. We were a very happy set, very happy spending the evenings together. So I feel like if everyone will bring our A game and all work together, then you can make something really good. And as far as stories, just, I mean, social issues do matter to me, and it does matter to me. Even though my previous film, I made a comedy, it still had a message. So really anything that highlights people that are not being served in entertainment. I try and make films about women, ladies that are 40 plus, you know, and I have, as I said, you know, a trans story coming up that I'm going to work on. And just making sure that people feel like, hey, okay, yeah, that looks like me. I can relate to that person. And that's something I don't see that much. So stories like that. I'm
glad that you're doing that. You're advocating for this amazing change that we should have been doing many, many years ago. So it's great. What piece of advice that you could share with other filmmakers that maybe want to follow in your footsteps, that maybe you've learned or that you go by?
I would say I was a librarian up until 3 years ago, and if you feel in your heart that you have a story to tell, then you definitely do have a story to tell. And you don't need permission from somebody. You can make it with your iPhone, find your friends, and just teach yourself. You can totally do it. It can be done. And we're just lucky to have a Filmmakers studio. We all have it in our pockets now. So just go do it.
That's so, honestly, it's so inspiring. And when you said that last night with our audience, they were all just in shock, you know what I mean? Because there are many people out there that maybe are afraid to go and do it and don't do it. And I think you really, you know, are a great advocate to say, you know what, I can do it. It doesn't matter when or what or how, if I want to change my career, whatever it is. And I think that was so wonderful. You mentioned briefly about your next project, which is focusing on trans stories. Is that what's coming up next for you?
Yeah, I think I probably will shoot that one next. That's going to be a short. And then I'm also working on a horror feature, which is based on a true ghost story from the area. And it's going to be starring Emma Ridley from Return to Oz.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, she's a wonderful actress, and I'm really excited to work with her. And she's also producing. So we had a meeting this week, and I'm getting excited about it.
Oh, I love your journey, and I'm so excited to see many more of your projects. But thank you for bringing Every Grain of Sand to us, honestly, because it was very special. And I love what you're giving out there to the film world. So thank you very much.
No, it was my privilege. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Amanda, everybody. Amanda Spencer. Thank you.